Guys, we have a 12-team Superflex PPR 1.75 for the tight ends, start 10. Scott, are you going Michael Pittman and a 25 first projected late, or Malik Neighbors? Go ahead, man.
Oh, this is a tough one because the process clearly says to take the first in any deal where you're pivoting off of a receiver. We have never seen Malik Neighbors play. But I'm going to go a little bit against the grain, and I think you're dealing with assets that Pittman's a flatlined asset, doesn't have any upside. Value will never get any higher than it was last year. And then the late first, as much as I love having that first, I'm going to give the Dynasty community a little credit here. People are a little sharper in terms of projecting picks or at least treating picks where they should be treated. We get a lot of questions that are like, it's a random first. You know what that pick probably isn't? The dog shit tanker that knows they're going to be the 101 or 102 or 103. It's probably the team that is in the playoffs but wants another starter. So I think projected late is pretty fair. If this type of deal came by, it's probably going to be a projected late. It is not the, oh, that's a lottery pick, to get Neighbors. So I'll take the Neighbors side here. I think that's the one asset. Easily you could get this as long as he's just not Quentin Johnston or Jalen Reagor. If he just shows he's good, it's not going to matter. The community's going to love him.
Shane, you going Neighbors here as well?
Yeah. I mean, Scott brought up the points. I'll be more succinct, more condensed. One of these assets has a chance to be elite, and that's Malik Neighbors, and that's what we're shooting for, right? Top 6, top 8 wide receivers. Outside of that, whatever. They're all replaceable. I can find a Michael Pittman. I can find a Brandon Ayuk. I can put 13 other names there, but it's a lot harder to find an A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, etc. So that's the range I'm shooting for.
So we got a hammer from Eric Langzev. Thank you very much. This is a deeper format here. Shane, let's start with you. It's a 14-team PPR, 1.5 for the tight ends, start 10. He has JRich, T-Law, Fields, Howell at quarterback, Gibbs, Kyron, Spears, Chase Brown at running back, Lamb, Nico, Pittman, Reed, Cooper, Rice, Shaheed, and then has Hawkinson and Kraft at tight end. He's got 225 first, high and high mid. What do we think there? Late and mid-late. Most sites rank me top 2. Would it be worth packaging the picks to tier up from one of my starters, or should I be patient? Thanks. Appreciate the hammer, Eric. Shane, what do you think here, man? It's a 14-team start 10, small tight end premium.
I mean, yeah, can we use one of the picks to tier up out of that Nico Pittman Reed range? Probably not, to be quite honest with you. Maybe the Pittman. Obviously, you know how I feel about T-Law. I'd rather a running back that has uses his wheels. Unlike
or a quarterback.
Yeah, what I say, running back? Yeah, whatever. Quarterback. So, I mean, sure. Yes, I want to tier up. Yes, I would use one of those first because it's late. And one's kind of late, maybe.
High mid.
Maybe. High mid. I don't know what that is, but sure.
Scott, what are you doing here? The question Eric had was, would it be worth packaging these picks to tier up from these starters, or are you hanging tight? What are you doing?
I'm going to put this back on Shane real quick. Shane, I will give you Jalen Hurts, but you give me 2 seconds, the 2 firsts, and Trevor Lawrence. You doing it?
So those two firsts, so mid late, 2 mid late,
first and T-Law for Jalen Hurts. Are you doing it?
I don't like having no flexibility. I'm going to assume this dude has 26. So yeah, I'll do it.
I'm not doing it in a 14-teamer.
Here's the thing.
I will.
When you tell me I'm already top 2 and I have a lineup where I know I can start, I mean, this is a 14 by 10, right? It's a lot of starters here.
I don't think this is a top 2 team, though. I don't care what those sites say. Shout out the Dynasty Daddy. It's probably one of them.
So here's the thing, man. I think you discredit the fact that how spread thin it is in a 14-teamer where you're looking at Rashee Rice, Rashid Shaheed, Amari Cooper, Jaden. Those are studs in a 14 by 10. Like those are not guys I'm trying to. I mean, sure, I will upgrade from them, but it's not to the point where I'm in a rush to just deplete 2 or 3 of my receivers for one player. And I'm comfortable starting T-Law here because I already have Richardson. Like I'm actually banking those firsts
I mean,
You know what I want to
be
do is
comfortable.
not up tier. I want to, you know what I'll buy? I'll buy can I tack on a first to TJ Hawkinson to get me Sam Laporta, Trey McBride? Because it is a 14-team league where someone should want the 2-for-1. That's where I would consider up tiering if you really wanted to go somewhere. But other than that, I'm actually holding the first, like Clay was saying. You know what I'll buy if I need another player? I'll buy another Michael Pittman when one comes available because I need one. Like, I want to use my first in a league like this. Depth is hard to get.
Yeah, I don't care. It's season starting. I'm getting the guy that gives me a 5-point advantage over Captain Mediocre, and that's where I'm going. Although I'm not all that comfortable with JRich. So is there a way I could maybe move JRich and a first for Jalen Hurts and something else? I bet you I could do that. So I think I'd prefer to do that. And then I'm a little more okay with having Captain Mediocre as my QB2.
Captain Mediocre. Nice.
And someone's in the comments right now. I know it. I'll check the YouTube comments tomorrow. They're going to tell me that I'm stupid and that Trevor Lawrence is great.
So let's go to Joe Montana. Got us a hammer. This is a 3-parter. Scott, we'll start with you. This is an interesting format. It is a 12-team 1 QB start 7, but it has a 0.2 point per carry. So every rush attempt is 0.2. Kyler, T-Law, Bryce at quarterback. You have Zamir and Trash Cans at running back. Amon-Ra, Olave, and then, Amon-Ra and Olave at wide receiver. Andrews at tight end. Looks like we don't have the rookie draft yet. It's 101, 103, 108, 110, 112, 201, 202, and that also has another late one, 425 first. We have positional limits. Can only carry 10 running backs, 10 wide receivers, 5 QBs, 5 tight ends. The league hates quarterbacks. Let's see what else we have here. They love running backs. Try trading the picks. Let's do this. This is a long 3-parter here. Let's just look at this team and the fact that he's got 425 first and then the 101, 103, 108. Scott, what are you doing? Super shallow format here.
Hey, I'm going to make it simple. The quarterbacks don't really matter much. I get it. The league doesn't really care for them, but you can only carry 5, but it's a 1 QB start 7. You have Kyler, you have T-Law. I don't know the price to upgrade, but I'm definitely taking Jaden Daniels with one of those picks because it's point per carry. And just the fact that it's so shallow, having a backup Kyler Murray is more valuable than drafting Xavier Worthy or Brian Thomas or whatever you might take there. So immediately Jaden Daniels goes to, it's almost like I'd consider taking Jaden Daniels at 103, which is crazy. I don't think you probably have to. Caleb probably goes ahead of him, so you should be able to get him at the 108. But I think that's how much I'd value the advantage here. Other than that, man, it's a start 7. I'm definitely doing is carrying as many of those running backs as I can. I do not care about receiver here. I got Amon-Ra, Olave. I'll take one receiver in this draft. It's probably going to be Marv at 101. That's already locked in. You're not going away from that. But like Shane, I can literally roll with Marv, Amon-Ra, and Olave and maybe one more receiver. That's all I need. Every other thing is going to be running back. I'm getting every running back in this draft. If I have to make the picks, give me Ray Davis, Trey Benson, give me all of them, because if I ever need a flex, it's probably coming from running backs, and there's a limit.
Yeah,
so,
you can only have 10.
Yeah.
But if you look at his running back room, I'm fine I'm fine shedding, obviously, the cans in this situation where I'm just like, I'm not letting any running back go. But if he has just absolute garbage there, all the rookie running backs in the world will be fine.
Shane, are you going John Brooks over Roma Dunze? Given the format, and he clearly says running backs are king.
The league loves him. Yeah, I mean, if John Brooks hits, besides just obviously the 0.2 per carry, I'm going to be absolutely smashing in the score box or the box score, whatever. I'll also have a valuable trade asset if I want it to be.
And his team is starting Zamir White, and that's it. So he probably could use Jonathan Brooks more than a Dunze.
Yes, he could.
And I'll just throw this up here. It sounds like he's it sounds like he knows what he needs to do. No, I need hammers to compete. And he said something nice here that I wanted to put up here. Love listening to your all content. definitely the best out there. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you indeed. So let's go to. Oh, can we get a Mike Gardner check? By the way, wasn't that his name? He always said that we were like the best, and I haven't seen Mike Gardner. Yeah, Mike Gardner. Yeah, come back. Where are you, sir? We got a hammer from someone. Shane, we're going to start with you on this one. Oh, okay. So a 10-team Superflex half PPR start 10. The quarterbacks are T-Law, Levis, and Danny Dimes. We also have Sam Howell. Running backs are Gibbs, Warren, Javante. Then we have Puka, Devontae, Kirk, Ridley, Diojon, Christian Watson at wide receiver, and then Laporta and Kincaid at tight end. Also does not have the rookie draft yet. It is the 103, 107, 203, and all the futures. The question here, Shane, it is give Kincaid, get Achane. Your dude. It's a 10-team Superflex start 10, half PPR.
So there's no tight end premium. 10 starters. So obviously I want the dude. Well, this goes without saying. Dude, who's the dude that's going to put up crooked numbers? It's not Kincaid. I like Kincaid a lot. Really good rookie season, but it's a half-point PPR. Give me the dude that's going to throw up 20-point weeks. Mini pocket hammer, as we've called him in the past. That's who I want. Mini pocket hammer. Me and the ladies, give me that. We both enjoy mini pocket hammers, so I'm definitely smashing a chain here.
Are you going mini pocket hammer, Scott, or are you going Kincaid?
Yeah, blast from the past with the pocket hammers. Yeah, I'm definitely going Achane here. It's not the format, especially already with Laporta. This feels like one of those where you're probably going, man, I'd love to trade a tight end. I'd love to trade a tight end. I'd love to trade a tight end. And then this offer comes and you go, that's not really enough, but it's probably the best you're going to get. So, yeah, it's pretty easy here, HN. Not even close.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to let's go to a question from the crowd, and I'll apologize if I'm super echoey. I'll try to talk even less than usual. That'll be good for everybody listening. I'm in a different spot tonight. So here's one that started from Marvin Cano. What is the max Sam Howell draft pick compensation you would send to acquire? Scott, are you giving a 26-second for Sam Howell right now?
Well, maybe he has a brother named Max S. Howell that's coming into the league. That's kind of how I read this initially. But what is the max you would send for Sam Howell? We could probably clean up the grammar on the question a little bit to make it clear. But yeah, basically, what would you pay for Sam Howell? Listen, I like Sam Howell. I think if he ever gets in for a start or 2 or 4, he's got very high fantasy upside. But he's not a good quarterback. There's been enough data out there saying he was awful. He's not a starter. He's a backup. He's probably more in the mold of Gardner Minshew, Jameis Winston. Like, that's his career path. But I can also sell you where those guys were worth holding for 5 years of their career. Because when they play, you're like, hey, I've seen this guy start before. If Sam Howell started for 2 games, Shane, we'd probably see him in the top 20, if not higher, of the weekly quarterback rankings. So for that case, he's worth a second. I'm not paying a second because the community still views him as like he's worth a second because he could start. Like, oh, he's going to get another opportunity to start. I guess it's possible. I'm hypocritical because literally Gardner Minshew is getting an opportunity to start. But right. I'm not paying the second. I'd rather get my shares. Can I give a young rookie like a Jalen McMillan in a third or something, some creative way where I'm not paying the second? But I do want some Sam Howell. I've been buying him. I think I'm up to like 5 shares I've bought this offseason. I do want some because, I mean, look at his weapons. He gets in there for 3 games, and you're like, damn, he was a top 12 QB twice.
He's going to smash potentially.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be great for your fantasy roster if he does get in there, but just know that his real-world NFL head coach will be like, I can't wait till we get this fucking guy out of the lineup. Like, this is just fucking terrible. Like, no. So the dude has probably a slightly better chance than me of being a starter in the NFL again. But it's unlikely. I'm not giving a second for him. I'm not giving a 27 second. I will give you a 2028 second. I will do an NBA trade where I'm doing future considerations in cash. In fab, I mean, not real cash. I'll give you Kenny Pickett in a third. How about Kenny Pickett in a third?
Well, and here's the problem with paying a second for Sam Howell is I immediately look at some of these other quarterbacks and you go, you know, They're not good, but right now Sam Howell's being valued a little bit because people think, oh, he could start again, right? You know who else could be good if he gets in there for a couple games? Josh Dobbs on the 49ers. Mm-hmm. Nobody even wants him because it's like, oh, no teams have wanted him. But there's some short-term backups where you're like, hey,
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz from the Chiefs is another one. Yeah. Shane mentioned Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett hasn't been particularly good, but he's always been with Matt Canada and the shitty Steelers. You put him on the Eagles, you go, wow, Kenny, I can just see it. Jalen Hurts misses a game. Kenny Pickett in one game for the Eagles has his greatest fantasy game ever. You know, he's a top 15 quarterback for the first time in his career. But you have to think of that. Like, the backup quarterbacks are going to usually ride the good offenses and the good play callers. So there's just a lot of cheaper ways I can get access to a guy like Sam Howell, who people are still valuing as well. Wait till he moves on. Or the best is he's going to take over for Geno Smith, Shane. They're just going to bench Geno Smith and put Sam Howell in. Not happening.
I mean, so there is a world, right? There is an outcome where Sam Howell works on not making such bad decisions and turning the ball over. Because, I mean, that's really his Achilles heel, that and running into any sack that he can find. You clean those two things up, which are pretty significant things to clean up. Yes, he could be a starter, but maybe he cleans up one of those things. You know, if he cleans up the turnovers, maybe they are like, you know what, we can live with, you know, a couple extra sacks throughout the season because dude has a pocket awareness of a squirrel. But it's not
he was on the Commanders.
It's a very bad line.
Sam Howell. He's got some moxie. He's got some.
Well, you know what's funny, Clay, is I was listening to one of those. I think it was Fantasy Points, and they had their offensive line guru on, and you know what he talked about? That the Commanders' offensive line is no better than it was, and Jaden Daniels is like Justin Fields level at taking sacks. So I do think it made me rethink a little bit. Like, zebras don't change. They don't change their stripes. You know, Jaden Daniels is probably going to get hit pretty hard at times if he doesn't kind of learn quickly to adapt. So that's a little scary thinking about that. Mentioning the Commanders, I know it had nothing to do with the question, but just thought I'd throw it out there.
Condolences to myself and other Commanders fans out there, right? Shane, look alive. Kim
Jong-il?
You said I'm, and then all of a sudden we're very
This engaged. Is one who's made it to freedom to ask this question.
So Kim Jong has a 12-team Superflex, half PPR, start 9. It looks like it is half PPR for running backs, and then it's full PPR for tight ends and wide receivers. So a little bit of tiered action. Quarterbacks are JRich, Kyler, Penix. Has running backs of Connor, Charbonnet, Chase Brown, Kendre. Wide receivers are Amon-Ra, Chase, Marv, Wilson, and then Fant at tight end. Says looking to compete, need to upgrade at tight end to beat the top team who has no holes. Could possibly land Laporta or Bowers for 2 firsts. And he says the same owner. Or give a second and some change for Njoku. Should I overpay for a top young tight end or take the discount with Njoku? Or fade with no tight end premium? It seems like there is like a half point tight end premium versus the running backs at least. But what do you who's up? What are you doing here, Shane?
But not versus the wide receivers, which is more germane to the conversation. So no, I'm not going to pay up 2 firsts for Bowers, who I love. But I don't know that he's going to turn out to be what we hope he will be. And Laporta, was Laporta the tight end 1 last year? He was up there, right? But it was like the lowest tight end 1 season in however many years. A very, very long time. A very, very long time. And I know he did it as a rookie, so maybe it's not apples to apples. But no, I'll just, you already know, I'll go get me some cheap Njoku. My dude had a bunch of 20-point weeks last year. Obviously, they weren't when Deshaun Watson was playing, but I'm willing to risk that for a second and some other stuff.
Kim built a pretty good team here, and I think you're kind of going backwards if you just pay everything for a tight end in this format. Like, this is a good squad. It's well built. The running backs are passable. You know, they're probably lowest common denominator running backs. We have Penix chilling out there as a QB3. I mean, we have 3 of the top, 5 receivers with Garrett Wilson. So, like, we're structured very well. So it's a good team. I'm leaning with Njoku. I think it was the Fantasy Life show. They were talking about this was the first season in like a decade where 7 other tight ends behind the tight end one finished within like 80% of the tight end one's production. So very clustered together. Njoku was one of those guys. So just keep banking on that you're not going to get Sam Laporta. But if you get 80% of it, it's not worth paying what you would have to pay. If anything, Kim, I think you should go after Trey McBride if you're going to pay up. You already have Kyler.
Because of the stack,
Go
right?
with the Kyler, Marv, McBride, and just see if you can get McBride a little bit cheaper than what you were going to pay for Laporta. But other than that, I'm probably fine with Fant and, some other cheaper one, Freiermuth, Komet. Like another platoon body, but pay nothing for them.
Sure. So let's see here. We have an inbox offer from Ethan that was started here. Thank you for the question. So trade Dwats. That's definitely Deshaun Watson's new nickname. Trade Deshaun Watson, Javonte Dowdle, and Shane, you're getting a 26 first mid to late. The team is Hurts, Caleb, May, and then has Marv, Neighbors, Reed, I guess 80 Mitchell, and other stuff that you see on the screen. 525 first and 326 first. It is a shallow 12-team Superflex start 9. Shane, you are giving Deshaun Watson, Javonte Williams, and Dowdle. You're just getting a 26 first, mid-late.
I mean, yes, it's probably a little light, but in what other world? Like, what is there any other? Can I move Javonte and Dowdle for, I don't know, even a second in most leagues? Probably not. Maybe a second, but yeah, whatever. Yes, I'll do it. I mean, there's not a lot to unpack here. It's a bunch of.
It comes down to in a start 9, Shane. He's getting something.
Yeah, and you'll never start these guys.
What's probably getting this deal done is the fact you're willing to throw in a guy like Javonte for nothing. But the reality is it's a start 9. He's probably just a body that you're collecting, and you already have 9 firsts after this trade with Caleb and Drake May as your QB2 and QB3. Like this feels like the quote unquote overpay on paper, but you can just replace that with 2 extra players off waivers, and now you get another first. Like this is what it takes to actually collect firsts, and dude's got 5 next year already, and you're working on 4 in 26. I mean, the league is getting close to the tipping point where they should probably stop trading with you if it's deals like this.
Yes, hopefully they're watching and they do stop trading with you, because that's
after he accepts the deal.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's go to another one from the crowd. It's another inbox offer. So this is from Luck is Here. Thank you for the question. It is a 12-team Superflex start 10. You're giving Neighbors and London, and Scott, you're getting Justin Jefferson. What do you think here?
I'm not doing it.
You're just not doing it. It's not a priority to tier up from Neighbors to JJ for you.
I'm not doing it. I think there's a different way I could go about doing this, or I would like to get a little bit of a piece back. Could I get a throw in running back? Something like that. I think I would have a hard time sending these 2 pieces for almost any player that's not a quarterback. Jefferson's great, but it just feels like I don't know, Shane. What do you think? You usually are more apt to do a deal like this when especially when it's Drake London, because I know you've talked about.
Yeah, I mean,
it's good guy to sell right now.
Just swap another name out there for. I don't give a shit if it's Ayuk and Neighbors for Justin Jefferson. Yes, I'm doing it. There's a very finite number of wide receivers that have ever that hit 20 points per game in a season. Not ever, but in a season, there's only a few that hit that mark. JJ's one of the dudes that happens to be able to do that. I love Neighbors. I got a lot of Neighbors. He's my most owned wide receiver in my dynasty leagues. I would gladly add the Neighbors to get to Justin Jefferson if all it took was a Drake London, who I also think very little of.
So, excuse me, Josh, you got us 3 hammers. Thank you very much. Shane, back on you here. Oh, okay. I'm going to laugh at this part at the end here. So 12-team Superflex PPR 1.75 for the tight end start 10. It's 25 man rosters.
Dude, I'm cracking up at the no space between man and rosters. It's like,
I thought it was
give me some man rosters, baby.
So good. Okay. Thanks again, Josh. This is he's got Justin Herbert, Caleb, Jacoby Brissett. Then he has Jaleel McLaughlin and trash cans at running back. Wait, and yeah, zero wide receivers.
No.
He listed it.
He listed them in the
different.
Yeah.
Okay. Here,
That would be
start
bad
over.
if Jaleel McLaughlin was your
let's see.
running back one and you had no receivers. You have a team. But yeah, continue.
So he's got Justin Herbert, Caleb Brissett, Jaleel McLaughlin, and trash cans at running back. Then he has Lamb, Jefferson, Marv, Neighbors, and Rome at wide receiver. Has Pitts, Dawson Knox, Michael Mayer, and Dulcich at tight end. Has 225 firsts, which he says one is early, an early 26 first. And he said it's a bad old team, I guess. Top 6 or 7 running backs are untouchable since they're all on contenders. Asking if he should do the productive struggle approach given the solid 25 RB class. What other moves would you do? And he says, this is cool. Also, thanks for helping me win my Dynasty title in my other league last year. You guys inspired our league to reset and move from 10 teams to 12 teams. Hey, rock and roll, man. Very cool. Very cool. Thank you. Thank you for putting that in there. Thanks for the hammers. Who's up? Who did I say was up?
Me,
Man
about
roasters.
an hour and a half ago. So we've got Lamb, Jefferson, Marvin Harrison, Herbert, and Caleb. Like, yeah, I'm probably not rushing to add a running back to this roster right now. Let me see how the first few weeks play out, right? Is Herbert really restricted from throwing the football because Harbaugh's a moron? And decide that the way you want to win is, or try to win, is with Gus Edwards, the ghost of J.K. Dobbins and Kamani Vidal, as opposed to letting, I don't know, one of the best quarterback prospects in the last 30 years throw the ball. Anyway, let me see how the first few weeks turn out, and if I need to buy a running back, I'll buy a running back then. It does concern me, though, that you start with Jaleel McLaughlin and then go cans. So like,
you had to have one name in there.
Those cans cannot be good if you feel the name that you should name Jaleel McLaughlin, but not anyone after that. So I'm probably just going to hold right now. I've been learning to be a little more prudent with buying when I don't have to. And there's no rush here to do so.
Anything to add here, Scott? What do you think? You
Yeah,
said top
I actually-
6 or 7 running backs are untouchable.
Yeah, and I don't think where this team is, you have to go rush out and try to get one of those running backs because he probably thinks top 6 or 7 is including guys like Travis Etienne, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley. I don't consider those guys really that hard to replace if you structure your team right. I love McLaughlin. Here's what I would do in this case. You already have a pretty good roster, but it's young, right? You're relying on a rookie Caleb Williams. You're relying on Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison. Like, there's a lot of kind of hopium built into this team. I'm playing this week to week, and I'm not moving firsts for running backs. Can I go find a running back that I can throw in that has some efficiency, but we're just trying to project a future role? Can I get Tajay Spears and start him? Can I get Chase Brown and start him? That's the kind of guy I want to start and just live with whatever they give me. But I don't want to pay a first. What I don't want to do is go, man, I got to keep up with these super teams. Let me give up a first for Rashad White, Isaiah Pacheco. Like, you're just buying like mercenary touches at that point for a team you're not even sure is going to compete. So you want to go with the slimmest of margins, and it may even be gross, like Rico Dowdle if he's starting week 1. Like that's how you play it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Another guy I'd take a shot on, because why not? Austin Eckler is the perfect guy to get and just start on this team. He's bad. Who cares? You're not trying to win necessarily, but I'm not paying for running back until it's crystal clear.
So this is a, 3 hammers from E Killa. And we're going to you on this one, Shane. This is a 10-team Superflex PPR start 9. He said switching in 25 to 12 keepers and 3 taxis. The rookie draft just ended at 5 firsts. The 102, 3, 5, 7, and 10 has Burrow, Purdy, Watson, Caleb at quarterback, ETN, Brooks, Ford, and Trash at running back, Lamb, Neighbors, DK, T, Wicks, Brian Thomas Jr., then has Hawkinson and Bowers at tight end. The league has 2 super teams. One is older, has CMC, Adams, Kelsey, etc. The other's young. Between myself and the other 2 super teams, we own 7 of the top 10 dynasty wide receivers. Team direction moves for this one. Thank you, Ekilla, for the 3 hammers. Scott, what are you doing with this team? Just finished the rookie draft here. It looks like you got some good players.
Well, I mean, he had a nice rookie draft haul. I don't know if we would have made all of those picks, but we also don't know what he could have gotten. It's a shallow league, Shane. I'm letting the team with CMC, Kelsey, Kamara, they can just rot. You know,
they can just die.
I'm not trying to chase and beat them this year because I don't have to with this team, but I'm also not scared of that team in a 10-teamer. Eventually is going to collapse. I don't know what the other team looks like. He didn't post the exact roster of the other team, but he kind of says it's got a similar probably build as his with a bunch of young guys and kind of cornered the market on a lot of the assets. So that's probably the one I'm in an arms race with. But with this team, you just made all of these picks. What are you going to do? Try to chase down the team with Kelsey, McCaffrey, Devontae Adams? You're not going to.
Why don't you try to trade them one of your trade them? You're not trading them Ford. Can I trade them T for their 26 first in the hopes that a couple of those guys crash out between now and 2025?
Well, do they have any interest, Shane, in even moving those players?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I don't want one of the old players. I want their first.
Well, no, can I get Christian McCaffrey for Brian Thomas Jr. and Jonathan Brooks, something like that? That if they say no, which they're probably going to, the premise of the question was that team's not going to trade any of those players. They're just taking another shot at trying to win.
Right.
I agree with you. Immediately go, okay, cool. You want Brian Thomas Jr.? I'll give that for your first. Because 10 by 9, it's going to be hard for Brian Thomas Jr. probably to crack your lineup. But I love the Higgins move too. Same thing. Like Hawkinson, anything that you think you could sucker into giving them to get their first, do it.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, let's go to some starred comments here. We've got this one's from PMZS1477. This is a 1 QB half PPR start 10. So let's assume, can we tell? Let's assume it's a 10 team, 1 QB start 10 half PPR. We have Kyler at quarterback. We have Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, Moss at running back. Jefferson, Puka, Wilson, Adunze. He says, okay, Adunze most likely at 103, so it doesn't have the rookie draft yet. Dotson, Mims at wide receiver, and Kincaid and Ferguson at tight end. Offer Kincaid the 203 and Mims for Hawkinson and the 108. Thoughts?
It's one quarterback. I don't want the broken tight end and the 108 in a one quarterback, so I'll just hold on to Kincaid. I mean, 203, 108, whatever. Is there a significant difference between the players I'm getting there? If this truly is a 10 team, not much, to be quite honest with you. So no, I'll just hold on to Kincaid as opposed to trading for the broken tight end that I can't use until probably week 9. And then it will also be still several years older than Kincaid, who had a really good rookie season for a tight end, which usually pretends good things. Portends, not pretends.
Shane, would you do this in Superflex if it was a 12 by 10 Superflex? Would you do this, or would you still keep Kincaid, just given the gap in the picks?
Yeah, Superflex, I would think about it harder. But then I'm looking at the wide receivers because that's probably where I'm going to go, right? At 108, I'm not going to.
I'm going, if I can put JJ McCarthy there, and now I turn Kincaid into the McCarthy Hawkinson stack. Are you taking that bet?
Murray.
All we have is Murray. Now, it's 1 QB here, so it's not like he's been trying to get quarterbacks. But just I'm prefacing it. If you can, the point is, if you can down tier from Kincaid to Hawkinson, because you talked about Hawkinson on one of your Shane Says this summer, like he's bullet. As long as he gets back to healthy, he's going to be top 6, probably top 8. Like he's going to be right in that mix with Ingram and Njoku, probably better than those guys historically. So would you use this opportunity to pivot off of Kincaid for Hawkinson plus, whatever that looks like in your format? Is that something you're trying, or are you just waiting?
Let's assume the quarterback room is shaky. It's a really good move to do something like that. Now, will McCarthy last to 108, though, in a Superflex? I don't think he will.
McCarthy, May, Bowers, Adunze. You're guaranteed to get one of those 4.
But
it's probably McCarthy that would go last of those 4 if we're picking today.
Maybe, but I'm assuming there's at least 2 other teams in front of me that need a quarterback.
Okay, so you're getting Rome or Bowers. Are you good with them?
Bowers over Kincaid and the 108. No. It'd be Hawkinson and Bowers.
Correct.
Is this also a tight end premium? Because then, yes.
Point is, doing math between May, McCarthy, Caleb, Daniels, Neighbors, Adunze, Marvin, Bowers. Statistically, you are guaranteed to get one of the top 8 in the top 8.
Yes. I understand that.
You got that Shane math.
Shane, this is not musical chairs. There are 8 chairs for 8 people, not 7 chairs for 8 people.
Okay, so here's our weekly strategy question from Alex with the Basset Hound avatar. I dig it. What's up, Alex? So strategy question: with the expansion of the season to 17 and maybe 18 games, plus more throwing, do we need to change our measure of a quote unquote good season? Is 1,000 yards enough? Maybe 1,200 more appropriate? What do you think? Who wants to start here?
I mean, to be honest with you, I was even in a 16 game season. I didn't think 1,000 yards is particularly that special. If you're a rookie and you hit 1,000 yards, cool. To me, that's just your he says measure of a good season. I think you're okay. You're above average, obviously, but I don't think you're anything special at 1,000 yards in 16 games. In 18 games, no, definitely not. So yes, 1,200, 1,300 yards.
I mean, if you're watching
hit it.
If you're watching Colin Cowherd and he's describing what a good receiver season is, he'll go, 1,000 yards. Like for fantasy, do we care if it's 1,000 yards or 1,100 yards? It's 10 points across a season. It's not that big of a deal. So I don't think we view it in that terms. We view it more in, and we don't even look at the season as 17 or 18 games. We're looking at the fantasy playoffs, and that's going to be 16 games played for every player at most for now until they add.
Yeah, I mean. And looking at it from a fantasy lens, I barely ever know what someone had for receiving yards, rushing yards. I just know what their fantasy points per game was. How they got there, and we'll bring up our buddy Josh. How they got there, it's a deeper question than what I'm saying, but how they got there is all I really care about. I don't care if it was 900 yards and 8 touchdowns and 115 receptions. As long as they get to that 15 point per range or higher, I'm feeling pretty. Then it's a good season.
Sure. Okay, so do you want me to read this from Josh here?
Josh McAtee.
It says Josh McAtee, who's a monster in the Discord. Check out patreon.com/allgas. We've got a combo tier. It's the Destination 5 tier. You can basically get the whole kitchen sink, all of Destination Devi's patron, including ours. Josh is the man in there. He says, what is a counting stat? All I know is quote unquote X over expected. Scott, you want to go here?
Yeah, I mean, he's looking at obviously fantasy points over expected is a huge one. We have that as part of our Trinity tool. When you pull that up, you can see what their scoring was versus what their expected points per game was. But basically what he's trying to say is we're not really looking at the stats on the page and quantifying whether those are good or bad. A lot of times we're looking at receivers, especially when a lot of them are bunched into that range. How did they get there? And you're definitely not looking at their yardage. You're not really looking at their fantasy points either. What's their role? What actually is a good receiver season in the situation they were in? I think that's a more key question to ask.
Cody Smith, also, you might know him from such podcast, the Overreaction podcast. And he actually just dropped last week, breaking down his, what's the word I'm looking for? Projections. And it's right there. He projects 27 wide receivers at 1,000 yards if they play 17 games. So no, it's not that special. It's special in the grand scheme of there's only 27 human beings on the planet Earth next year that are going to have 1,000 receiving yards. That is impressive.
Well, here's what makes it not special, Shane. He probably projects 5 receivers over 1,200 yards.
Right.
So there's a ton of them that are just jumbled in there. And part of that is not every receiver is going to play 16 games. Some are going to deal with a quarterback injury. So sometimes you're hedging your bets by putting them all in that range, but still it's defining what a good season is. I mean, what are we talking, fantasy or just Hey, that guy had a good season for a receiver. He had 1,100 yards. Great.
Like Terry McLaurin. Do you care about him in any way?
No, but you know what he is? A good receiver.
He's
He's
a
had a
good
bunch of good
receiver.
seasons.
Exactly. And that's my point. He's a good receiver. But you know what? If he retires today, like Michael Gallup, my fantasy roster won't be particularly damaged by it.
That's just mean, Shane. Shane is the mean.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're speaking truths here.
We're 40 minutes in here. We have 711 eyeballs watching. Thanks for joining. Again, sorry if my audio is trash. We're going until 10 tonight, so another 32 minutes of Dynasty. This is enough fluff talk. Let's go to Captain Kirk. Oh, did I say hit the like if you'd be so kind? The easiest way to help out the channel? I did not. I think it's bad luck if I don't
You
say
just
that.
did.
It's probably lame if I say it, but it's bad luck if I don't. Okay.
I like that hat, Clay. Can people buy that hat somewhere?
People can, but I need more time. I'm in the weeds still. Okay, Captain Kirk got us 3 hammers. Thank you very much, sir. We have a 10-team, 1 QB PPR start 8, and it's 6 point per passing touchdown. We have Tua, Deshaun Watson at quarterback, ETN, Saquon, Pollard at running back, Tyreek, Cup, Devontae Smith, Cooper, Deontay, Mooney. And then Shane also has the 106, 108, and 3 late seconds. Back-to-back second place finishes due to bad luck. Okay, we'll get there, Captain Kirk. Am I overthinking trying to get younger? With my old squad, I just traded away CMC, Kelsey, and the 26 second for ETN, 106, 108, and a third. It says league activity is picking up with a rookie draft starting on Monday. Let's see. Hopefully next Monday. Hopefully next Monday. Captain Kirk, if it was yesterday, send an email to T Sandiford, TSANDIFORD at dynastytradesand5.com. Let's get you another one. The 102 wants the 106, 108, and my 26 second. Okay. Is that too much to draft, neighbors? No current tight end. And then he's got another trade option here. Okay. So how do we start here? First off, asking if he should get younger. Super shallow format here, Shane. 10-team, 1 QB, start 8. You want hammers. What do you think about this team?
We would like to inject some youth into this roster. I don't know that I wanted to trade CMC and Travis Kelsey in order to get Malik Neighbors is exactly the way I wanted to go about it, because that's essentially what you're doing. And you're giving up a third.
But the same shit you got on top of that, you're literally now getting Malik Neighbors for it. So it's a 2 for 2. It's CMC and Kelsey for Neighbors and ETN. Give me that deal all day.
Oh, wait, was it ETN? Oh, he got ETN. I'm sorry.
You got ETN in the deal as well. So it's
you're
ETN and Neighbors for Kelsey and McCaffrey.
You're right.
I'm taking that for sure.
I definitely missed the ETN part. So yeah, that's good. I mean, because the 106 and the 108 are not valuable in one quarterback leagues. They're just not. I mean, 106 is Bowers. 108 is likely Lad McConkey.
1 QB, no, not even Bowers. Probably okay. Bowers goes 104. Brooks goes 105. So you're getting whatever receivers you would love to get, Shane. You're getting Brian Thomas and Xavier Worthy, Lad McConkey. But
I like Brian.
Bailout that you're now able to get Malik Neighbors for literally the extra pieces that you got younger with. So unfortunately, the draft has probably already happened, and he's either done or not done this trade. Hopefully, he did the trade.
Yeah. Pull the trigger, or send the offer now, because honestly, whoever they drafted, they clearly wanted this deal. You know what I mean? Assuming they
go back in time before you submitted the hammer, because the Monday already probably happened. Hopefully, you got Malik Neighbors.
According to Cody Smith of the Overreaction Pod and the Fantasy Draft Room, there are a lot of rookie drafts still in store. I just need some. How many people still have rookie drafts left? Please tell me in the crowd. I'm going to need you guys to let me know.
I mean, what's changed real quick? What has changed for you inside? The top 8 players are probably the same, right? I assume you were taking May, McCarthy over any other skill player, not named Bowers, Adunze, Marv, Neighbors.
Yeah.
So the top 8 are the same.
Yeah.
Real quick mock draft, Shane, 9 through 12.
Okay.
after the big 8, what are you doing? Pick 9 through 12 based on what you know today.
Xavier Worthy. I'd move
just
up
because he's fast and on the Chiefs, and there's highlights, right? Okay, perfect. I agree with you. 110. What are you doing?
Brian Thomas Jr.
Just because there's been not really anything negative
Nothing
about it.
negative,
Right?
so it must be good. 111.
Exactly.
You know what? I'm working on my blind spot. I'm going to draft Ladorius McConkey, so I can trade him as soon as there's positive buzz for a future first that will hopefully be earlier.
112, last pick. Are you taking Bo Nix?
I should. I really should. He's a quarterback. This is a super flex league. All I need is him to get 3 solid starts under his belt, and I can flip him for a future first.
Okay. And I would say that rookie draft would really not be all that exciting if we draft it. Now, the second round is probably where it changes a little bit. I don't know if people are super excited about Ricky Pearsall already injured, Keon Coleman. Yeah, I think the second could change a little bit. Ricky Pearsall injured his hamstring. So all the people that, we're thinking Ayuk's going to be gone or Debo's going to be gone and Pearsall is going to be there. Now it's looking like Pearsall might be the stone zero for the year. But anyway, it hasn't changed much in my opinion. The second and third are always just pick your guy. That's where it's probably changed a lot.
Yeah, he went pretty high in that in the listener league auction that we're in right now, and we actually have to do another one. Just a heads up on that, guys.
Wait,
but we
ball. What type of league is this?
No, so I think we do it exactly how we're doing it now. League Tycoon is sneaky awesome, right?
But it's gonna be Roy Sam real quick. I'm assuming Brooks goes before any of those players that we just named. But is this going to be a draft or is this going to be a lineup league? Because I've already joined several best ball leagues, and by I mean 3.
This is another listener league that we already said that we were going to do. So
we can do lineup, but I'm with Clay. Being able to do the slow auction, but not on MFL, on like a kind of a sleeper quality app that I can do everything when I'm laying in bed, like and actually bid.
It's dope. It's dope, dude. Honestly,
don't say their name though. Don't give them free pub. They're not sponsoring us, but I will say if Fantasy Tycoon does want to get their name out there,
that's not their name.
What's their name?
Now we have
Tycoon.
We might as well just say League Tycoon, right?
We had a 15-second window to actually creatively pitch them. Shane blew the league or the platform name.
League Tycoon. Excellent auction setup. Definitely. So the next one's going to be a lineup league. Reach out to Clay about getting in.
Not a chance.
Clay, the league will never start.
Not a chance. Yeah, that's the worst idea. No, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it off the ground. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I was thinking about on the burnout break. We got to get that. Off the ground. Okay, let's rock and roll here. Do not reach out to Clay if you want this to happen. Okay, let's go to It's Coxie. Go with that.
Dude, just skip all this. He traded CMC for Brees, Hyatt, and a 25 first. Did I make a right choice? Yes, you made a fucking absolute stupendous choice. That is amazing. You get Brees Hall back and a mid-25 first for CMC.
And it's a 14 by 12. Yeah. So getting the extra first on top is like...
Huge. I got to be honest with you. On the way home the other day, I just remembered I had CMC on several teams. Things pop in my head, and so I just, while I'm driving, I started sending out CMC offers for Brees Hall, like adding a third to CMC.
Literally, when he's on the highway, he's going CMC.
Any of them? Yeah, I was trying to get rid of them before I got home, and I didn't get one accept on any of those deals. So you absolutely made the right choice. I'm proud of you. There's a second part of this.
Shane, you know what you need? You need a voice to trade option where you can just say the name of the league and it sends the trade with just voice commands.
Is Sleeper not take voice commands? Because I can play my radio and stuff based on.
I don't think you can probably type in their chat, but I don't think you can actually send the trade offer. That would be cool if you could, though.
I'm going to stop saying their name on our podcast and giving them free pub because they didn't make any of us an affiliate. And they made several other people affiliates in the industry. I'm being a petty ass bitch tonight. I am being real petty. We're doing this. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's awesome. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and read out since it's Coxie gave us two hammers here. Yeah, Scott mentioned how it's a deep format, 14 team super flex, start 12. If you haven't played in a format where you're starting 12 players, good lord,
And it's 14 teams.
It is 14 teams. It's so gross. Half PPR, it's 1.5 for the tight ends. Looks like Hurts, Russ, and Trash at quarterback. Kyron, Gibbs, Brees, AJ Brown, Chase, Dell. Got some good players here. Pitts and Hawk at tight end, 101, 108, 25 first. Then we talked about that traded CMC for Brees Hyatt and a 25 first. Did he make the right choice? Yes, on that. He said, would love to get Marv and Caleb. How to get to the 102 without losing the 101 is 108, 25 first, 26 second, and Hyatt for the 102 fair. If not, what else do I need to add without giving a hammer or young guy? This is what's funny. It's like, I want to give you the stuff that I don't want.
Well, take Hyatt out of the deal because that's actually hurting your side. Because someone sees Hyatt and they go, I don't want him. It makes it worse.
You know what? We don't talk a lot about that. But really, when you add players, Scott's 100%. When you add players like that to the trade, it automatically makes the trade look worse. Because I've done it myself where I've seen a player like that in a deal and I'll just immediately go to our trash trades. I'll throw that in.
You're who I'm talking to, Shane. You see a player you don't know and you just go, this is bad, and you reject it. And then you'll come back 5 minutes later and you'll be like, that actually wasn't bad, but I was just so distracted.
And that's exactly
by Jalen Hyatt coming to me that I just declined it.
It makes the offer look worse than it is because it's a 14 team start 12. So getting 2 picks for the 102 is good. Now it's not going to get it done. It's not an insulting offer, though. I'll say.
Well, okay, it is a 14-teamer though, because think about 14-teamer. You're probably going to have McCarthy and May go higher.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Bowers or Dunze probably. Like it's not a insulting offer.
Not at all.
It doesn't get it done, but it's also an offer where there's some teams we're in. Or some leagues we're in where they're 14 or 16 teams. There's some teams that need to take a trade like this because they have the 102 and one other asset. And they're going, I'm just going to rebuild behind Marvin Harrison. And then their team is still awful. So I think you send it. Let them tell you what else it would take. I don't think you have to add. I see who you should add, Shane. Perfect. You would add Jamison Williams. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. Add him in. That should be
But get like a third or something kicked back in too. Don't be giving up this like 5 for 1. Exactly.
Get a third, get a running back. But yes, J-Mo is not Jalen Hyatt. Throw J-Mo in there in a 14 by 12. Somebody's going to have a hard time turning that down unless they are just another super team that doesn't want to give up the 102. You know what I mean? That's the only circumstance they would at least not think about it, I think.
So we got 5 hammers from Jay. Thank you very much. And these hammers are at buymeacoffee.com/trades and 5, right? Yeah, I think that's right. So it's Buy Me a Coffee. We call them hammers, of course. If you don't know what a hammer is, then you're new and nice to meet you.
Real quick, did they let Paul Skeens go all 9 tonight when they didn't let him do it 2 weeks ago when he had a no-hitter going? That's ridiculous. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What is Paul Skeens? What are we?
Baseball.
I dig that hat, by the way. We're kind of matching almost here with the blue.
He went 8 1/3, Shane, with over 100 pitches. So he probably could have given him a shot at that no hitter.
Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, sorry.
Ari said it here. When is Clay growing out his fantasy beard? I'm not doing that again, man. COVID beard was pretty gross, pretty pathetic. Okay, so back to 5 hammers from Jay. Thank you very much, Shane. Let's start with you. 12-team Superflex PPR. It's 2.0 for the tight ends. Start 10, 6 point per passing touchdown. It's a good format. Mahomes, Lawrence, Dimes at quarterback, has Spears, Trey Benson, Wright at running back. We have Pickens, Dell, Adunze, Brian Thomas Jr., Polk at also Burton and Samuel at wide receiver. McBride, Hawkinson, and Fant at tight end. It says he traded DK for Pickens, a 25 third out of the startup. And let me go back to the banner. The bench and taxi is youth and upside. Looks like I'm punting year one. Do I tear down from Mahomes and Hawkinson in season? And who do I target in a trade? Any other suggestions? Appreciated. It's whom do I target, right? Okay. 12-team Superflex, Shane. It's a 2.0 for the tight ends. Start 10.
What are you doing
here?
I don't want to trade. I don't want to tear down from Mahomes. I mean, if I trade down from Mahomes, it's going to be a trade that's bad on the other manager's part. Like I gave up Mahomes and they gave me Jalen Hurts in a first. You know what I mean? Like why am I moving Mahomes? He's a top 5 dynasty quarterback every year. Actually, top 2 generally, or top 4 dynasty quarterback every year scoring. I'm not moving him unless, again, it's a bad trade on the other manager's part. I'm fine moving Hawkinson. You have McBride, you have Fant. I hate going back to the old standbys, but okay, can I trade Hawkinson for Evan Ingram, David Njoku, and I'll give you Hawkinson in a second. Give me David Njoku in a first. Can I do that? You know what I mean? That's what I'd like to do, if possible.
Yeah, I like the DK for Pickens in a third. That's the perfect startup deal where you're getting a free third. You're getting a player that probably ends up very similar to DK Metcalf, but you have some upward mobility with him. And yeah, I kind of agree with Shane. Like, I'm not probably – you take Mahomes in a startup, you're building your team around him, unless it is a very, very clear – what would a tier down from Mahomes even look like? Where you're comfortable with what you're getting back. Like, can I get CJ Stroud in a first?
Give me Kyler, because I've got McBride on this team. I'm just like, that's a name that sticks out. I'd be willing to go down to Kyler, let's say, for Mahomes. I see what you mean. Yeah.
That's probably I think the point is there really isn't like flexibility in that. There's one manager that's probably even thinking they want to tier up from Mahomes. You know what I mean? And so it's not a deal you're probably going to get done right out of a startup. I get it. That's probably one of the assets he could tier off of, but I'm not in a rush to do it. It's not worth getting that extra 26 first out of it or whatever you would get.
Sorry if I missed it. Did you reference Hawkinson? That was part of it. Do I tear down from Hawkinson in season? Like, what are your thoughts as far as Hawkinson and his team? He gave us 5 hammers here. He's got McBride, Hawkinson, and Fant.
No, it's a 2 PPR. Like Hawkins is going to be 27. Like I'm not interested. He's the perfect player to have on this team, right? If anything, you'd be going, can I tier off of another tight end to get Hawkinson plus? Like I think you built this team a year out. The guys I would move off of if they do anything, I'd be moving off Jalen Wright, Trey Benson. Like I don't need running backs. Like this is probably the last thing I'm probably focused on, especially in a 2 PPR. Receivers and tight ends are going to dominate the flexes. That's where I'm trying to milk the value out of it. Danny Dimes, out on him as soon as possible. Guys like Curtis Samuel, take anything, like shedding some points off this team could be the difference between you getting the 103 and the 102 or 103 and 101. Like that could be huge because you have enough pieces. You're not going to not score 0. You're not going to score 0 points here. Mahomes, T-Law, Pickens, Dell. Like you're going to have too many points scored, most likely, for this team to be really bad, but you're also punting. So think about that.
Yep. Good stuff there. Appreciate those hammers, Jay. Let's move to, you had mentioned Dimes. We got a hammer from Dr. Dimes, and then we'll go back to one of the star comments. Thank you very much. This is a Shane 12-team Superflex PPR. Okay. He's got Mahomes, Geno, and Kirk Cousins. Yeah. At quarterback. We have Breece Hall. That was a bad That was first back. It's horrible. Mahomes, Geno, Kirk Cousins at quarterback, Breece Hall, CMC, Kamara, Mostert, and Gibson at running back. We've got London, Metcalf, Adams, Keenan, Hollywood, Wicks at wide receiver, Kelsey, Freiermuth, and Chig at tight end. It has a 25 first, 226 first, no seconds. He says, so many expiring / old players, trying to win, but what moves do you see to push the limit here? Thanks. Appreciate you, Dr. Dimes. Shane, 12-team Superflex PPR. What are you doing with this team?
Your only real need is a high-end wide receiver, but Devontae Adams is still going to go out there and probably score 16 points per game. Keenan Allen could score 16, 17, 18 points per game. We don't know what's going to happen there. I mean, that's the biggest need. Yeah, your team's old, I guess. You've got.
Here's the proposal, Shane.
Yeah,
I will give you Justin Jefferson. I need Drake London.
Okay.
And 3 firsts. And you give me back, I'll give you back 2 seconds.
They're my firsts. Yeah. I'm on board. Or you don't make that deal and you just make the picks and hope that you land on a Justin Jefferson in the draft.
I mean, it's one hammer, so we don't have to spend a ton of time, but let's cut to the chase. I mean, you have 3 firsts and a couple players you could tier up from, right? But if somebody comes to me and goes, hey, I'm willing to move my Jefferson or Chase or Lamb or whatever it is, they don't want Keenan Allen. They don't want Hollywood Brown. They want something that moves the needle. Yeah. And it's probably not draft picks either because you already have Breece Hall. You're not wanting to move Breece. What else are they even interested in? Mahomes, Breece, London, and picks is really all this team has to offer anybody that's trying to punt. So I'm just going right for the picks. You really want a hammer? This is your one move. Yep. You're giving me everything for the hammer, and you can decide. And then you get pushed back to reality, and you go, Clay, do you really want to give 3 firsts and Drake London for 1 player? What if that player goes wrong? Now the roster is buried, right?
Now you're toast.
Yes, you're cooked. So this is a good enough team to win, man. You got Mahomes, Breece Hall, McCaffrey, Kelsey, and decent receivers. You do not need to be obsessed about tearing up right now.
Well said. Okay, let's move off of this one. We do have a super chat. They were on. We didn't mention them because we were hitting a bunch of hammers. I just turned them off because we're gonna have to stop here in like 10 minutes. But good fella. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Much appreciated. Again, we do most of our trade questions on buymeacoffee.com/trades-in-5. And if you've got a hammer that's been sitting out for a while, apologies. Big time apologies. We'll get on top of it soon. But go there and ask your questions. Nothing super time sensitive, please. That's not the best application for it. So good fella, thanks again. This is a 12-team Superflex PPR start 10. Scott, we'll start with you. Trade Tyreek Hill, a 26 first. Wait, okay, yeah, that is. Trade Tyreek Hill, a 26 first, and Keon Coleman, and you're getting CD Lamb. My other wide receivers are Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Marv, and Keenan Allen. What do you think here, Scott?
Ooh. This is probably not a bad deal if you want to try to move from old Tyreek Hill to a clear upgrade. Like a guy like Lamb is almost impossible to get. I don't know. I'm going to get greedy here, Shane. What else can I get with Keon Coleman in the first? Can I get something slightly lesser than CD Lamb? Can I get Chris Olave or Drake London or something? Can I get that and still keep Tyreek Hill and hedge my bets? That's what I'd rather do.
Yeah, I bet you I can add a second to that, and I'm in AJ Brown range. I'm not adding a first to Tyreek Hill to get any wide receiver. None. Absolutely none. There's not a wide receiver alive that's playing fantasy football right now that I would add a first to Tyreek Hill to. I don't care what fucking year. It could be 2045. I'm not adding a first to Tyreek Hill to get another wide receiver.
You
will regret that soon enough, Shane, but I agree he is good enough that if you told me Tyreek Hill only has 2 more seasons left, but they're going to be 20 points per game, you just take those.
And they will be.
And that's the thing. And look, he'll be right step by step, step for step with Lamb, if not outscoring him. Now, if you're on your roster is absolute garbage, and you're trying to move off of Tyreek Hill, I still wouldn't do this, but I could at least understand the psychopathy.
Psychopathy. That's a new one.
Nope.
We did some real analysis, Shane, last week. I'm sure you did not watch the stream with
I did.
But we talked about the more kids Tyreek has, it continues to add years.
I've been saying this repeatedly that he is not retiring. We talked about this actually in the Discord. Like, I want that dude to keep having as many children as he can, because he's going to have, that means he has children's mothers that he needs to pay.
Yeah, he
And
needs
yes,
to loot.
$80 million is a lot. It also goes quickly when you have 15 children. So I'm fine either way. I believe he plays longer than 2 years, and even if he only plays 2 more years, that's still 20 points per game that I'm getting out of him. That's near impossible. There's like 4 wide receivers that's in their range of outcomes.
I saw this really, really bad comment that you started. I'm glad I unstarted. That would have been, yeah, that could have been devastating. Okay. Let's get away from
I don't even know what it was. Now I'm curious.
offline.
I started.
So probably.
No.
Let's go to Nick
Doesn't
Beasy.
even remember.
Only Shane would be able to read it. Okay, Nick Beasy, thank you very much for the 2 hammers. Appreciate it. Shane, this is a 12-team Superflex PPR. Did I already do this thing? No, it's the same format again. Cool. 12-team Superflex PPR. It's 2.0 for the tight ends. Start 10, 6 point per passing touchdown. Has Josh Allen, Hurts, Stafford, and backups. Aaron Jones, Eckler, Gus, Zeke, and Trash. Ayuk, Adams, Cooper, Diojon, and Lockett and Myers, and then has Ingram at tight ends, all picks. Defending champ, but 5th or 6th best team. Well, congrats. With these QBs, I feel like I always have a shot, but what moves are we making to future-proof or go all in at this point in the offseason? I mean, it says it right there, Allen and Hurts, right off the bat, you're legit. But what are you doing, Shane, in this tight end premium, 2.0 for tight ends, 12-team Superflex?
I'm probably trying to buy tight ends because it's 2-point tight end premium. Everything else I'm buying is besides the point. You're obviously stacked at quarterback. Excuse me. Your wide receivers, I would say Ayuk, Adams, and Cooper is pretty good. I would not be disappointed with that. So what can I do to add to the tight end room, really? Like, who's the teams in the league that suck? Let's just go pick their carcasses and see if they have at least a tight end I can help replenish their soul with.
I think something I'm trying to do here is this team is going to have a tough time upgrading, quote unquote, up tiering probably. There's probably a blind spot at tight end, meaning you can probably get another tight end, maybe not Evan Ingram, but you can get another one where you look at their numbers and go, man, that guy's going to score like a wide receiver 2, and people don't value him like they would value a wide receiver 2. Now, we don't really have any great receivers to sell here. You could sell Ayuk, but probably not even the time to do that right now. I'm moving Stafford on this team. I'm trying to, and I don't even need first. I'm trying to kind of shift some of my assets away from the stuff that I don't need, because here's the problem, and this is going to come up to us very quickly as the season gets here. If you have Gus Edwards and Ezekiel Elliott, when do you probably want them? Like early in the season, right? I don't want Zeke to go, oh yeah, I'll have Zeke for later in the year when Eckler and Aaron Jones go down. Like you kind of have, I want to be creative. I want to get at least one deal done where I'm moving. Can I move Diojon and Stafford and get back a first and something? Or can I get back 2 seconds? Like, I want to shed a little of my excess here, because honestly, this team is going to come down to how good are Adams, Cooper, Ayuk, and then my 2 quarterbacks. Allen and Hurts have to absolutely smash. That is the only thing that's keeping me in contention. So align your bets with that. Don't just put your hands up and go, well, I have enough depth to get by. Meanwhile, there's somebody that might give you a second for Jacoby Myers and a third. Something like that's the type of deal you got to hunt. You're not up tiering. You're not using Amari Cooper to upgrade here. Like and plus I don't want to move my first with a team like this. There's some volatility here. So be creative. You got to get some value out of this roster, because it's very dead and your chances are not going to fall if you trade away a couple pieces.
I was about to talk on mute. So WG, Shane, I guess, just put this on. He says, you think, I guess he's talking about, Tyreek. You think he's not going to retire? He can't afford it. Too many kids. He has those kids because he doesn't make rational decisions.
Look, some people just love children. You know what I mean? Like, you love your children and you just want more. It's just maybe you don't like that particular parent the other parent. So you just move on and try again with another parent, because maybe the one you made first children with isn't easy to deal with. I don't know.
The next two comments after that are just, we don't have to put them on the screen, but they're just funny. I can see that. I can see, and it's no shade on Tyreek, but we have seen receivers like Terrell Owens and Chad Johnson. Like they do think they can return way after their prime. You know what I mean? How many years in a row has it been Terrell Owens can still come back and play?
I mean, he was crushing in the fan controlled league.
But
so
did Calvin Johnson like retire too early?
No,
Didn't
he was
like,
the one that was like, I don't like.
Yeah,
no, I know,
yes,
but how
too
young
early.
was he? He was super. Yeah, was he really? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And for what I remember, Terrell Owens was actually still good in his last year.
Yeah, he played into his late 30s.
He's a turd though.
Well, no. I'm not saying now he'd be any good. It's just I think he could have played for whatever it's worth another year or two. He truly wanted to. He wasn't bad. Yeah, he had 980 receiving yards in his last year in 14 games. That's not bad, bro. Not bad.
Yeah,
that's a good receiver.
Okay, so we'll go to this hammer from R Noble. Thank you very much. And if your hammer wasn't answered, we'll get you on the next stream. Thank you for this one. It is a 10-team Superflex start 9 PPR. Shane, let's start with you. Purdy, Bryce Young, and Trash at quarterback. Garrett Wilson, Puka, London, Neighbors, Dell, Pickens, Lad McConkey at wide receiver. Bijan, Saquon, Najee, Zamir at running back, and then Kincaid, Komet, and Sano at tight end. Has 225 firsts and seconds in all futures. How do I improve this roster? Been debating making a move for QB. What do you think here, Shane? Shallow, 10-team Superflex start 9.
Yeah, I mean, I can see wanting to make a move for a QB because Purdy's got an unsustainable touchdown rate for his first 2 years. Bryce Young looked like a hobo playing quarterback last year. Even if I think he's going to bounce back, I can understand the want to improve there. I gotta be honest with you, Puka, G. Wilson, London for a 10-by-9. I don't know. I don't think you have too many Dell, Pickens, Ladd, Londons for me. Like I'd be doing everything in my soul to trade all 4 of those for one high-end quarter. You could, dude, it's 10-by-9. To win, you have to have a monster.
I'm shaking my head because how many times have I said this on this stream? You do not get to asking a hammer, and if you can just go package 5 of these guys and get Justin Jefferson.
I'm not saying, obviously. Okay.
Like you're stating the obvious.
Trade them all for future first.
No,
and
well,
re-roll.
Give me 30 seconds to talk through that strategy. The second best way to get hammers shy of just, hey, I have Tank Dell, George Pickens, Ladd McConkey. Who wants all 3 of them for the best player in the league? Like nobody's doing that. Even 5 years ago, maybe. Like send the offers, sure. Let the top 4 receivers in the league, the managers that have those guys, decline your trade. But then you're probably going to end up here where you're asking a question, how do I upgrade the roster? And people just don't think about, man, I want to upgrade, but maybe the best way to upgrade is tear some shit down so I can build some better stuff later when the stuff that I'm already planting here with guys like Pickens, even Ladd, like he hasn't even played, but what are the odds he matters in a 10-by-9, you know? Like it, reroll. And you know what? You may end up with another Ladd McConkey. And that's not great. But you might end up with, man, I ended up with the 103, and it was Roma Dunze or Garrett Wilson. You know, like it's possible that you actually come out on the right side of that. And that might, and even if you don't with the player, a 103 in a rookie draft next year at a certain time is going to have a lot more power to maybe finding somebody willing to sell low on a Amon-Ra that had a down year or something like that. Like that's how you got to play it. You can't just go and hope people want to go the other way in deals where it doesn't make sense.
We had a super chat sneak through somehow. I guess I shouldn't be
turned him back on.
And now YouTube's saying, oops, you don't have permission to check out this page. Okay, we're going to read this one here. So this is from Ram Pratt. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. We'll end here. So this is a 10-team Superflex start 10 PPR. Shane, Goff, and Carr at quarterback. Does that make it move down there?
It went inside.
Okay, so Goff, Carr at quarterback, Brees Hall, Gibbs, Henry, and Stevenson at running back, JJ, Amon-Ra, Ayuk, Mike Evans, Mooney, Palmer, then as Laporta and Kittle at tight end, 101, 105. Caleb / Rome or Marvin / Drake. Have an offer for JJ. You were reading ahead.
I have no clue why I'm
Just
laughing.
finish it.
I'm laughing because he typed out a great question, but he forgot the O on Stevenson and the E on Mooney just randomly, but spelled everything else.
Listen to the end though. But listen to the end though. It gets better.
Wait,
He
who's
says
homie?
Yeah. He's got the 101 and 105. He's
that's
asking,
Mahomes.
chill, homie.
It's Mahomes.
He's got Caleb and Rome or Marvin and Drake is what he's asking. Have an offer for JJ and Carr to get Mahomes, also known as homie. Go ahead.
10 by 10.
No.
No, I wasn't looking at the Mahomes deal. I'm already not doing that. I'm just trying to figure out which one I like better, Marvin Drake or Caleb Rome. Marvin Drake.
Yeah, it's a
I'm gonna go
10-teamer.
Marvin Drake. Yeah.
I know your quarterbacks are weak, but I'm taking Marv. I'm taking Justin Jefferson. All of those are going to be valued over pretty much anybody at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
So pretty easy. I still just can't. Typed out a great question with all the names spelled correctly, except for just forgot those 2 vowels, just randomly.
And homie. I'm glad we figured that out.
That was
That's the crux. That's the crux of the question. If we couldn't get that one, we're definitely in trouble.
Well, usually people say Mahomie, right?
Yeah.
Mahomie. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you remember the Dio John Tay question with Pat Fitzmaurice. That was so good. All right. So we have 936 eyeballs still watching us at 10:05. Thanks so much for joining. Appreciate you. Hit the like if you'd be so kind. Easiest way to help out the channel. Go to buymeacoffee.com/trades5 to get your hammers in. But most importantly, go to patreon.com/allgas and join our patron tier. Join our Discord. Always popping off in there. Shane and Scott are all over it. We really appreciate all the support. It's the lifeblood of the channel. So I am going to shut this down for now. Shane, you want to wave bye? Scott just waved bye. That's a nice wave. Yeah,
Have a good evening. You don't say bye. It's like I tell my kids. We don't say goodbye. We say, I'll see you later.
We'll see. I'll see you next time. Exactly. Well, I'm going to end this one. Thanks. Have a good night.